Okay, guys, so we made it to Friday, and today I thought I'd start a new series and answer some questions about what it is a voice teacher actually does. As many of you know, I teach voice, and I'm also a director of a local youth theater company, as well as all sorts of other things that we as musicians do. We're part of the gig economy. But today we're going to focus on what is a voice teacher? What does a voice teacher do? So, a voice teacher is an individual who has trained specifically as a singer, who has specific training, usually in America via a college degree or a conservatory degree in voice. Voice is actually a degree. For those of you who didn't know, you can actually get a Bachelor of Music or Bachelor of the Arts in voice performance, which is what I have. I have a Bachelor of Music, which is a professional degree in vocal performance. And what this does is it gives us a very specific track of training to be able to develop our own voices, and also to many times, for those of us who retire from performing, which I did, teach voice. So what does a voice teacher do? We train the vocal apparatus, which is a fancy way of saying we train you how to sing, specifically how to breathe, proper posture, proper alignment, proper diction, intonation, which intonation is a fancy word for being able to sing in tune, being able to sing the correct notes in a healthy, balanced, and free manner. How do we do that? Well, various methodologies. Different people have different people that they've studied under. There's lots of different techniques even within our world. And there are many times where we're using different language to describe really the same thing. So breathing is breathing. Those of us who teach specifically breath have different ways of explaining it, but there really is one way to breathe correctly. But we all have different ways of describing them. So I want to make sure I clear that up. So we do that through various exercises. Scales. Scales are life. Scales are everything that, just everything I do in my studio focuses around scalar exercises, breathing exercises, posture, like I said before, alignment. A good voice teacher will teach you all of these things and explain them in a way that is clear and that makes sense to you. A good voice teacher, now that we know what a voice teacher is, let's talk about a good voice teacher. What is a good voice teacher? Because I have had the honor in my own life of working with incredible voice teachers. My current voice teacher is amazing. She's a force of nature. She's in New York City. She has many people's names who you guys would recognize, including lowly voice teachers like me. But a good voice teacher. So a good voice teacher is able to synthesize or gather all of this information that they know and explain it to each individual student in a way that makes sense to them and that they can apply. I want to say that singing is very simple, but it is not an easy task. So this is where the majority of, I would say, our specialty lies, in the ability to explain this and to inspire our students to be able to perform these acts and these different exercises that we're giving them. A good voice teacher should be able to explain in a way that makes sense to you. What is breath? How do we breathe properly? When do we breathe? Do we breathe through our mouth? Do we breathe through our nose? Lots of details, and they should be able to break that down in a way that makes sense to their student. If it doesn't make sense, then you as a student should also feel free to ask questions. A good teacher creates an environment where we're working together, we collaborate. And when kids are in my studio, or I have adults as well, we'll start our exercises, we'll go over different concepts. Everyone's different, so we're constantly working on different skills. Some of us are working on matching pitch, some of us are working on breathing. But the center idea is that you're able to ask questions. When you get an answer, it's clear and direct and it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, feel free to always ask questions. And I would say the hallmark of a good voice teacher is also being able to receive questions and answer them in a way that makes sense and in a way that's sensitive to the student. So this is, believe it or not, a tall order. Not everyone can do it, and it is absolutely possible to be an amazing singer and a terrible voice teacher. It is possible, and it's perfectly possible to be a good singer and be an amazing voice teacher, because being a good voice teacher is about mastering your own instrument. We all have individual capacity, which I know, by the way, that's a fancy word for we all are different. We all are capable of different things. I know in years past, there was a lot of, just different kinds of ideas of what everyone can accomplish. So we are all different. We're all able to accomplish different things. And one of the greatest joys in my life is knowing that my students have perfectly the capacity to go far beyond anything I ever did as a performer. And that's super exciting. So let's see, what have we gone over? A good voice teacher is kind, they're patient, they're able to explain things in a way that makes sense. And you should be seeing some level of progress with your voice teacher. I would say probably within 6 months, you should see some level of progress. If you're studying with a voice teacher, and you should be able to have some kind of quantifiable, like, I can come in now, I can sing through my scales. Oh, and I have noticed that now my voice doesn't transition sharply here. I'm no longer going flat. I can breathe, take a lower breath now. I understand what this means. Does this always translate to I'm going to sound perfect and amazing within 6 months? Absolutely not. Voice is a lifelong journey. And I like to joke whenever anyone asks me how long it's taken me to learn how to sing after they hear me perform. I always joke, any day now, because it is an art form, and it is also something that takes time. But that said, I would say about 6 months of work. And what I mean by work is the work that we do in our studio time. Most of my lessons with my teenagers is maybe 30 minutes. Some of my advanced teenagers take 45 minutes to an hour when we're working on specific projects. But I would say within 6 months, you should see some kind of progress if you're, one, practicing every day outside of your lesson time. This is crucial. If you do not practice outside of lesson time, it's going to delay your progress. You should be practicing. I tell my students, listen, you don't have to practice for hours at a time. We're not instrumentalists. Our instrument is right here, and all of this. So 10 to 15 minutes every day when you first get started is perfectly acceptable to work on your scales and your breathing and the technical exercises we work on. That said, if you're doing that, it should definitely show there should be some kind of progress within 6 months, enough for you to begin to understand some of the concepts that are being talked about. If you don't see this progress, it's a good time to kind of check in with your teacher and, ask about progress. And the reason being is because I've also found in my time working as a voice teacher that there are many times when a student isn't making progress and they're hesitant to make a change with a voice teacher because they think, oh, I just have to stick through this. I want you guys to always remember that you do not belong to anyone. And this is what I love about NATS as an organization. I'm, again, a member of NATS, is that one of the things that they have us agree to is that our students don't belong to us. You guys are always free to get other opinions, to study with someone else if you need to. I went through this as a singer when I was a professional. I had a voice teacher, and I kind of got to the point where he had taught me everything that he could. And that's amazing when that happens, because it means you're growing. And so I moved on and found the lovely person who's my voice teacher now. And she's been my voice teacher, sheesh, I want to say for the past, wow, 15 years, since I was in New York City. We still study, we still take regular lessons. Like I said, this is a lifelong journey. So I want you guys to always feel free to get a second opinion, ask those questions. Don't be afraid that you're going to rock the boat. Any teacher worth their salt is going to encourage you to do what's best for you and your voice. So just a few things that were on my mind this Friday. I want to make sure that you guys are getting everything that you need, and just wanted to start this little series about answering these maybe awkward questions. But I will see you guys next time. For those of you who are having lessons later this week or next week, I will see you then. Remember, wash your hands. And shouldn't you be practicing?